Good afternoon and welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, gracias por estar con nosotros hoy día en 3 p.m. con SAC. Si quieren acceso al programa en español, por favor marquen el número que aparece en pantalla, que es 425-436-6200. Cuando le contestan su llamada, por favor comparten el clave, que es 627-682. Perdona que hemos tenido problemas con la traducción. Ojalá que hoy todo vaya bien y si no, por favor, nos dejan saber. We want to let you all know that folks can access this program live in Spanish via a teleconference private call that we have. We've been having some problems with it lately. I'm hoping today those problems are resolved. If not, we're going to keep working on it, folks. Also, if you want to see the program and hear it in English or in Spanish after it's over, to catch some things you didn't catch or to share it with folks, you can get that here on our Facebook page. We post it in English and then we post a version dubbed in Spanish so folks can see it live with an overlay of Spanish. And we have that both of those available on YouTube as well. So please take advantage of that. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director and Lead Organizer for SOC, Southside Organizing Center, or SOC, for our old schoolers that we love to have with us. Please note, we have been with you from the onset of the pandemic. We haven't missed a day, and you can access all of us in the same ways you have, except for in person, and we are looking forward to when we can do that again with you all. So please do call us at our number 414-672-8090. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org, and you can visit our website at www.socmilwaukee.org. We have an entire page dedicated to information and resources and action you can take in response to COVID-19 or the coronavirus. And so, folks, I want to remind you that it takes a whole crew to make this happen. It takes several hours, even though it's on for an hour or less each day. I shared with you all those details yesterday, but please know that several of our staff are making this happen, and they are on the line ready to connect with you at any time, and that we have a couple of crews calling you. We're trying to figure out how to continue our relationship with you and support you during these challenging times. So you may receive a call from one of our youth organizers to see how you're doing and make sure that you're able to register with the census or our adult temporary canvassers or our ongoing staff. So know that that's us checking on you, making sure that we can continue to help you during these times. We don't have a special promotion for a gift card today because we were running our Keep Your Grandfather Safe campaign. I'll talk about that in a second, but please do fill out our survey. We really need you to do that. One, to ensure that our programming is meeting your needs. Two, to demonstrate to our funders that we're getting feedback from you. So if you appreciate us, our work, or this forum at all, it's only a couple of questions. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes. And even if you feel it's redundant because you do it every day, every program is different, every forum. So we'd like your specific feedback. We have different guests and different content we cover. So please help us out there. If there's something we can ask you for, is to sacrifice 2 or 3 minutes to fill that survey out. I want to share with you what's happening next week. You'll want to be with us as so many things are happening. If you've tuned in, you know that to be true. And we're just trying to help you manage that information and stay engaged and give you the information we hear. As soon as we hear it, we want you to have it. So on Tuesday, we have Teresa Jemison from NAMI as we continue our mental health focus that Marlene has launched with us, our coronavirus coordinator. And then Thursday, we have Claire Evers, the Deputy Commissioner for Environmental Health, and she's going to give us the latest analysis on what's happening overall from our local governments perspective on COVID. If you recall, we were going to have her on Thursdays because Thursdays is usually a time when they review those. But she was traveling and it was difficult to get her on, so she will be with us this week. Why do you want to pay attention? Because remember, we're in phase 3. What gets to be open or not in the next phase is 4, or do we have to go back to phase 2? And so we're bringing you straight from the actual sources who are involved in that decision information. So you want to stay tuned here. And then on Wednesday we have one of our new older women, Marina Dmitrijevic, coming on, and she's going to give us an update. We still have some other folks to bring on. We're hoping to have Arnita Holloman from the Office of Violence Prevention to continue our mental health focus. And also, as I shared earlier in the week, that the Executive Director of the Fire and Police Commission, Griselda Aldrete, is going to come on as soon as they have their investigation concluded around the death of Joel Acevedo. She's going to come and share what that investigation disclosed with all of you, and you can ask your questions then. So please do pay attention. It's going to be an important week. And then I want to share in our next segment, I want to share a disclaimer. We are a certain type of nonprofit, and there's waters we can swim in and other waters we can't. And so we have to share a disclaimer with you to let you know that the views and opinions shared on the forum do not necessarily reflect those of SOC, as we create safe space for folks to come and give you information, but also to engage you. And so it's sort of a mandatory thing that I have to do. I'm going to say some hellos to you all. If you want to check in on the live comments to let me know you're here. As soon as I finish my next announcements, I want to say hello to you all on this Friday, and see if you have any questions for us. Okay, listen, there's still a lot of things happening. We want to share that we're in solidarity. We continue to be in solidarity with the protesters and the families of those who have been killed at the hands of police officers. And we're putting our efforts into this forum as an education and awareness component of the movement. But we certainly are in solidarity. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with you all who are really challenged during the pandemic. Those of you who tested positive and have all the fears and concerns and the struggles with that, and for the family and friends of those who have lost a loved one as a result of C-19. Folks, it's a real thing. People are dying. I've experienced it in my own circles, and so have you. It's especially important for us near Southsiders because 53204 and 53215 zip codes are the ones experiencing the highest spikes. And then our offices and most of our staff live in those zip code areas. So please do cooperate with the CDC orders, wear a mask, the social distancing, the washing of hands. And so as we hear things, we're going to let you know what they are. A couple of reminders if you weren't with us yesterday. Yesterday was a huge day. The Supreme Court decided DACA is here to stay for now, and they struck down President Trump's attempt to end that. And so we're so very delighted as we have engaged in immigration reform with our partners who are leading in that effort, which is Voces de la Frontera, and all of the young folks in their YES groups and across the nation. So very proud of your work and so excited and happy that you are here at home. Also, today is Juneteenth Day, and as we shared yesterday, it is the time that we celebrate as a nation the emancipation from slavery. It took a long time, even after legislation was passed, but this is the traditional time that we celebrate that. So we have 8% of our community neighbors on the South Side are African American, and so happy to have a diverse community and to lift up both Juneteenth Day and our residents. So I want to share now with you a couple of activities. We only picked a few to share with you, but if you go to our Facebook page, we shared a news report from Milwaukee Neighborhood News Service that has a whole listing of activities you can do now and during the weekend. So today, still until 6 p.m., I believe it's the African American Roundtable that has at the shop at Cream City Print Lounge at on 80th and National Avenue. Lots of activities, and you can buy a T-shirt. And we're going to lift up some work that's happening in collaboration with Alice's Garden, Women's Emancipation March. Lots of things happened today at 1:30. They had a ceremony at 2 o'clock. They were marching. I think they still are. And from 4 to 7, they're having a block party. So you don't want to miss those activities. And you can catch all kinds of activities that you can do this weekend on our Facebook page that we shared there. And so let me say a couple hellos, and then we're going to invite our special guest. Hola, Donna Grinker. I went to high school with Donna Grinker. Love you very much, amiga. Miss you. Haven't spent time with you in a long time. Happy Juneteenth Day from SOC to everyone in the community. All right, folks, we are going to invite on our special guest, Ches Ordonez. He is the chair of the City of Milwaukee Equal Rights Commission. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't seen your face in a little bit.
No, we spot each other like here and there, right? At community events or other things. But every time I see you, you light up the room. So it's fun.
Thank you. I like to hear that, or that I'm making trouble, because then I know I'm doing my job.
Well, that when you're causing trouble, that means you're lighting up the room.
Okay.
So they go hand in hand.
I'm glad to hear that you appreciate it. I'm so happy you're with us, because I think the work of the Equal Rights Commission is a very quiet treasure that we have locally, and we don't understand it. And of course, we have yourself, a Latino, at the helm of leading that group. So give us a sense. Start off, share with us, Ches, what is the Equal Rights Commission, and then share about your role.
Sure, thank you. So the Equal Rights Commission is one of the country's oldest equal rights bodies. And we just celebrated our 75th anniversary a year or two ago. It seems like the years, everything like flies by, right? And so our job, in a sense, and we just revamped what we do. So the Equal Rights Commission has had a very long history in Milwaukee. And now what we do, so we're here to like protect and promote equality, equity, and human rights through education, enforcement, and then most importantly, what we believe is community engagement. So a lot of people see equal rights commissions in two ways, either that it's the ones that are just going to be the enforcer and lay down when people have, broken the law in terms of discriminating against others, which that's very important. But it's also about community engagement, education. We have a lot of people that just don't know. And I think it's these unconscious biases that we all have as humans. Latino, Black, LGBT, white, we all have unconscious biases. We need to be able to accept that as human beings and say, we have them. Mm-hmm. But then how do we get past them? Whether that's culture, upbringing, religion, circumstance, what made you feel this way? And then it's about educating about facts, about community, on what the more things of what draws us together then brings us apart. So I think that's a critical role for the Equal Rights Commission. Recently, we just completed a year-long, very intense strategic planning. I became the chair in January, and before that I was acting chair for some time. But we get selected by the body. So the mayor will appoint or nominate, like every other body, any commissioner, for example, and then the common council will confirm you. Or not confirm you, right? But they confirmed us. So that's how it works. And then you're a commissioner. And then the body itself, your peers as fellow commissioners, every beginning of the year, they will select a chair. And so I was humbled that they would select me to lead them.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. And we are sometimes the silent force, and we try to get out there with everything happening, because I believe that you can lead and affect change in two ways. And they're both right. You can be always at the front lines You can be in the background maneuvering policy, or you could be doing both and bringing people together. So I think that's kind of where my role fits in. And that's also where the body fits in as well. And we have a very diverse group, but we also, after our strategic planning, realized, what does the community need? What does Milwaukee need? And we created 4 committees. Compliance and enforcement, when people discriminate, how do we protect those that have been hurt? Communications, how do we get the word out about the Equal Rights Commission, but more importantly, the community and what they're doing? Outreach and education. How do we educate employers? How do we educate nonprofit groups, the everyday folks in the community on what biases are, what stigma is, what a hate crime is? How do you report that? Do you feel like you've been a victim of this? So that's what we're all building now. And then I think one of the most important is governance, and that's self-governance, us as a body. You will see many commissions, committees that do not have a governance structure. And if you're going to be an equal rights commissioner, for me now at the helm, you need to put the time in. And we're all volunteers to the city because we love it. But how do we ensure that we're healthy as a group? And how do we ensure that we're holding ourselves accountable to ensure that the people are heard? And so that's where we are. And so far we have a lot of achievements under our belt, but there's many more to go.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been really busy. How big is the group, Ches?
We have 9 members. We just are extending it 8 members now. We had a commissioner have to step down for a few reasons with family. So we're always sad when that happens, but that also raises a good opportunity that we are now accepting more commissioners. The Common Council approved us to have 11 members because I said, still as a body of 7 where we were before, 9, all of the work that happened out of our strategic planning, I realized while people love this city and people are all volunteers, you need bandwidth, you need support, we need to invest. So they approved us to have more members. And so that application process is now on our website, and I'll give those out throughout, sure.
Okay, good. And then are the members have to live in the city of Milwaukee?
So yeah, so this is the beautiful part. If you want to be a commissioner, you have to live in the city of Milwaukee. However, we realize that we have allies and our community, multiple communities, extend past the city. And so let's just say you live in a neighboring community. Well, to be on one of our committees, you don't have to live in the city. If you live in a neighboring city, you can be on our committee. Now, each committee, I appoint the chairs of each committee as the chair of the body. So that will always be run by a commissioner as the chair of that committee. However, we can have a vice chair or members that are not city residents, because that's only going to help us grow as a city and as a commission and further equal rights throughout greater Milwaukee.
It's good to hear that the commissioners have to live in the city. That's super important.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to hear that. Now, talk to us, Ches. What are the core issues you all plan on tackling as a result of your strategic plan? And then let's see if we can fold that in or connect it to some of the issues we're dealing with today, including the unrest of the community based on long-standing racism and structural violence and police brutality. But tell us, what does your plan, the strategic plan, have in terms of moving forward in the issues?
Well, I think the beauty of a strategic plan, at least the way that we did it, we went back to what do we think that we need to do. And in 2009, that was before I was on the body, the Equal Rights Commission stopped taking active complaints from the community. And they went from more of, well, if the state is doing it or the EEOC is handling these, we want to focus more on not taking in complaints, and we want to focus more on outreach and education. I fully support outreach and education. It's vital. But we also need to know of people that are being discriminated against in our city, who they are. And so we have been tackling on how to now reinvent and reactivate taking active complaints. And so we wrote that in our ordinance. We added protected classes in our ordinance, and we're going to be now adding more protected classes. And so an example is we never had before, or any protected class, whether it's the state or EEOC, somebody's HIV status. Now, if you are a landlord, if you are an employer, and you find out somebody's private medical history, especially HIV status, there was no really recourse to do that. So we added that. We also added source of income. If you have a lawful source of income and you are renting, your landlord should not be able to evict you. And this typically will happen to minority communities or even women, depending on their profession, that they will be evicted because of their lawful source of income. They're not doing anything illegal, but they may not like what they're doing. That should not be allowed. So we added that. We added veterans protections that was not added locally. We're going to be now looking at doing immigrant protections in our ordinance. What does that mean? We're doing a national analysis right now on not just adding immigrant protections, but also if we enforce it, will it hold up? If it's challenged in court, if it's appealed. See, I think that's also vital important, is we don't want to give the community more pain. If they have a case and we believe that we are strong, we need to ensure that's going to hold up. So we're doing a national analysis of what immigrant protections we can put in there and what we can actually adjudicate on. So those are just some of the things that we're working on, but also funding. We're working hard to get the equal rights funding as well, because we have a lot of achievements. But how do we take those now and imagine what we would do with some sustainable dollars?
So share with us the scope of what type of complaints that you receive, considering, right, in terms of employment complaints, those go to the EEOC. Mm-hmm. In terms of constitutional civil rights, those go where? They go to what?
They could go, right now, they could go to the state, or right now they could go to the EEOC, depending on the class that they're in. Now, we have a lot of, so the equal rights body, we're appointed, we're an independent body. Now, we are housed and supported by the Department of Administration in City Hall. But we are, I would say, quasi-independent body, right? Well, we're still appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the Common Council. We do what we believe is best for the community and those who have been disenfranchised or discriminated against. And so I think that's also important to say. So now we're going to be revamping, and there's a clause in our ordinance. And to be exact, it's 107, our chapter is 109. So it's 109.7C. And we purposely did that in there while we were doing strategic planning and revamping our ordinance that would really limit our scope to find out the intake of discrimination cases, because I think it's more of an injustice to the community that if we open it up and we're not able to do anything about it yet, we don't have the funding, the bandwidth, because then we're just perpetuating more distrust in government. So now that we've completed our strategic planning, I had a call today with the state Equal Rights Division, and we're going to be looking at creating an MOU and a work share plan. And so that we can take active complaints of all types. We're going to be looking at partnering with the EEOC. We've partnered over the years with Maria, who's over there, and really looking at how we can have 2 work share agreements, with one with the state and potentially one with EEOC, so that hopefully we can take all of these complaints in. And if we get overwhelmed, overburdened, this work share plan will allow them to step in and help take the overflow. So it's really the best customer service and trust to build in the community. And that's the goal. Now, politics gets involved with a lot of it, but that's where we try to cut through it all.
Yeah, we're going to do some work and bring you in on that to help folks understand the federal, the state, the county, and the municipal levels of discriminatory bodies, as well as what's the formal body to file complaints with. Now, we know at the federal level, there are a lot of, within each department, there's ways you can file claims. You just mentioned the Equal Rights Division at the state level. Now we've had on the program Dr. Rob Smith, who is the chair of the the County Human Rights Commission. I'm not sure all of the scope of the work that they do in detail yet, because we've used Dr. Rob for so many other topics, because he's a professor and a historian in civil rights. And then we have you all, the Equal Rights Commission. And so we definitely have work to do. A couple of touch points is, one, you're well aware we did that hate crimes community forum. And so we still have work to do there. The other piece that I'll remind folks of is that we've been doing work around the closing of the only Southside Social Security Office Administration. And we have suspicions that that has violated equal access under our federal laws. And so we filed a Freedom of Information Act requests via one of our board members / residents in the community. We have an attorney, a pro bono attorney reviewing that. Matter of fact, I just met with him last week. And so there's a lot of work, Ches, that we can see what we can dig into together and what's the appropriate bodies to get involved, and certainly to help the community understand, like, how many times have we worked with the ERC before you were on it? It was very unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, like, we got a lot of work to do. I'm glad that you're there. So what should folks do if they want some support because they feel their rights have been discriminated in whatever areas that you guys are taking complaints? Give us a sense of what folks need to do next.
So this is the beauty of it all. And I think as we just launched our online, our complaint intake form, we really created 2 mechanisms that people can do. So we call it the standing up against hatred by calling it out. And they can go to our website, which is milwaukee.gov/ERC, or they could call us. And that's our No Hate hotline. And that's 414-286-5900. I can repeat, 414-286-5900. Or they can go online. So that's the No Hate hotline, or we're calling it No Hate Online. And you can submit a discrimination complaint. The form is on there, and it'll tell you all of the classes that you can file. And if we are not the right agency at this time, because we still have to be able to change our ordinance, that doesn't mean that we can't help you get to the right place. And that also doesn't mean that we can't be advocates for you. I think that's the most
in those other processes as well.
Right. And if it's not an equal rights issue where we think, oh, well, why would the Equal Rights Commission be involved in our event, in our march, parade? We're from the community. We are the community. And so part of my strong belief in our mission is not just to handle complaints, but it's to also educate people and hopefully stop them before they happen. And so we need to be out there as well. We need to be advocates, influencers with policy as well. So please reach out to the website. Our information as commissioners are all there, whether it's contacting me or any of the other bodies. But also it's an open call. We're looking for more commissioners from the community, or people to be from the community to be commissioners. And so we want a strong, diverse group.
Sounds good. We appreciate your presence with us.
Thank you.
We're going to work with you in partnership to make sure people understand they have another resource, especially as we address the long-stemming racism in this country and locally. And we appreciate you. Stay safe, and we look forward to having you back on the program.
Thank you.
Adios.
Adios. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, bringing to you another resource. If you feel you've been discriminated against and you heard Commissioner Ordonez say, doesn't matter what arena, if you contact them, they'll come alongside you, even if you have to file through a different body. So please do take advantage of that. I can also speak for Commissioner Ordonez that you can call if you need other Spanish language to the city, and they'll get an interpreter for you. Folks, thank you for sticking with us for that session. And now I'd like to invite on our coronavirus coordinator, Marlene Zoran. Hola, Uriel. Hola, Marianne. Marianne, is the interpretation working today? I know you helped us the other day. Let us know. Hi, Marlene.
Hi.
Thanks for being with us. I'm going to hand it over to you to get us all up to date on COVID-19.
Welcome, everyone, to the COVID-19 segment of our 3 o'clock with SOC. So we're really glad you guys are here and tuning in with us, because I'm about to give you some really valuable information on numbers right now for COVID-19. So just to let you know, what I'll be talking about today is I'm going to go over COVID-19 numbers first, and then I'm going to do a rundown of how to help your children at different ages cope with stress and trauma of COVID-19, because it is still Mental Health Week. So according to the Milwaukee Public Health Department, currently in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there are 10,087 people with confirmed cases of COVID-19. There have been 331 reported deaths in Milwaukee. I'll first talk about confirmed case count by race and ethnicity in Milwaukee. If we can have that image pulled up. Yep. So according to the Milwaukee Public Health Department, the highest level of COVID cases are in the Latino OAX community, with 3,703 people diagnosed right now. The next highest population is the African American population, with 2,794 cases, as compared to the white population having 1,972 cases. And then other cases include 479 cases in the Asian population, and 237 are in other individuals that categorize themselves as other, 42 confirmed cases in 2 or more races, 36 in the AIAN alone, and 17 in NHPI alone. So next I'm going to talk about the total deaths by race and ethnicity in Milwaukee. According to the Milwaukee Public Health Department, there are currently 146 white deaths, 136 Black deaths, and 39 Latino OAX deaths in Milwaukee. Lastly, I'm going to talk about age and death rates in Milwaukee. The highest number of deaths is in individuals who are 80 years old and up, which stands right now at 131 deaths. And then individuals who are 70 to 79 years old, there have been 97 deaths. 60 to 49 years old, 59 deaths. 50 to 59, 24 deaths. 40 to 49, 12 deaths. And 30 to 39, 3 deaths. And 20 to 29, 5 deaths. The reason why there are still deaths in the younger populations is because many individuals might not be aware of their, current health conditions. Some people might not even know that they have diabetes or high blood pressure, or that they're on the obesity level. And so that can definitely trigger a higher risk of COVID-19 in those individuals. And then individuals who are 65 years old and up have a higher risk of death from COVID-19 because they just have weaker immune systems with older age, and a lot of times, individuals who are 65 and up do have diabetes and do have obesity, and they do have some chronic diseases. So those are definitely things that you should watch out for, especially when you're going around older individuals such as our grandparents. So now I'm going to, we can just skip that for now. So now I'm going to talk about what you can do to help children cope with a disaster. So according to the CDC, setting a good example for your children by managing your stress through healthy lifestyle choices, getting plenty of sleep, and avoiding drugs and alcohol is critical for parents and caregivers. When you are prepared, rested, and relaxed, you can respond better to unexpected events and can make decisions in the best interest of your family and loved ones. So I'm going to give you the following tips to help reduce stress before, during, and after a disaster of traumatic events. And this is all from the CDC. So before a disaster or traumatic event happens, talk to your children so that they know you are prepared to keep them safe. They need to know that they're going to be safe in your hands. Review safety plans before a disaster or emergency happens. Having a plan will increase your children's confidence and help give them a sense of control. During a pandemic, stay calm and reassure your children. Talk to children about what is happening in a way that they can understand. Keep it at their level of understanding. Simple and appropriate for each child's age range. After a pandemic is over, provide children with opportunities to talk about what they went through or what they think about. Encourage them to share concerns and ask questions because they do have a personality and we should encourage that. You can help your children feel a sense of control and manage their feelings by encouraging them to take action directly related to the disaster. For example, children can help others after a disaster, including volunteering to help the community or family members in a safe environment. Children should not participate in disaster cleanup events or health and safety reasons. It is difficult to predict how some children will respond to disasters and traumatic events because parents, teachers, and other adults see children in different situations. It is important for them to work together to share information about how each child is coping after a traumatic event. So common reactions during this time of distress. So infants to 2 years old may become cranky. They may cry more than usual or want to be held and cuddled more. For children 3 to 6 years old, that's preschool and kindergarten, children may return to behaviors they have outgrown before. So for example, like toilet accidents, bedwetting, and for being frightened about being separated from their parents or caregivers. They may also have tantrums or a hard time sleeping. So many times, like individuals, parents who are essential workers and are working in the hospital system or other areas might need to go sleep in a hotel, and that separation from their parent can be a little bit traumatic. For 7 to 10 years old, older children may feel sad, mad, or afraid that the event is happening. So like COVID-19 is happening, people are not happy, and especially children. The peers may share false information with them. However, parents or caregivers can correct the misinformation. Older children may focus on details of the event and want to talk about it all the time, or they may not want to talk about it at all. They may have trouble concentrating as well during this time because it's such a stressful time. For preteens and teenagers, some preteens and teenagers respond to trauma by acting out. This could include reckless driving and alcohol or drug use. Others may become afraid to leave the home. They may cut back on how much time they spend with their friends, and they can feel overwhelmed by their intense emotions and feel unable to talk about them. Their emotions may lead to increased arguing at home and even fighting with siblings, parents, caregivers, or other adults. So it's important as the parent to try to keep having these conversations with your children and to try to give them reassurance all the time that everything is going to be okay in the end. And, COVID-19 is just a temporary thing that's currently happening today. And it's important to have those educational conversations with them so they understand the symptoms and the outcomes of COVID-19. So then they can share it with their peers. So that is all that I have for you guys for today on COVID-19. The links to everything I just talked about is in the comment section. And I hope you guys have a great Juneteenth.
Thank you for that very important information as always, Marlene. And now I'm going to invite our Civic Engagement Manager, Gabe Charles, to come on and give us a Civic update. Hola, Gabe.
Hello, hello. So today I just have an update for you all that's coming from the state level. So Governor Tony Evers and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes announced a package of legislation that, if passed, would increase accountability and transparency in policing in Wisconsin. And part of the press release said, "We continue to lose far too many Black lives, be it from any inequities in criminal justice and policing, in healthcare, or in economic well-being. The social and economic consequences of these deep-seated inequities reach every community in our state, and eliminating them will require action at every level of government. Passing these bills is one piece of how we move closer to accountability, equity, and justice for all." So again, that was from the press release, but I do want to share with you all my screen so that you can see what this looks like and the different components of this legislation package. There are 9 different bills that are represented. So this is the governor's website. So just evers.wisconsin.gov, you can see that up here. Then if you click newsroom, a drop box will go down and you can hit press releases. And then here you can see all of the different press releases that the governor puts out, and it's divided by month. So I'll just show you all that and then go into the one from this morning. So this is what they look like. That's the text, but I'll just go through briefly what each bill is going to do. So the first one, like I said, there are 9. The first one will establish safe statewide use of force standards for all law enforcement agencies. And one of them will be that the primary duty of law enforcement is to preserve life of all individuals, that deadly force is to be used only as a last resort, that officers should use skills and tactics that minimize the likelihood that force will become necessary. If officers must use physical force, it should be the least amount of force necessary, and that law enforcement officers must make reasonable action to stop or prevent any unreasonable use of force by their colleagues. This same one also prohibits discipline of law enforcement officers from if they report a violation of a law enforcement agency use of force policy. So if someone reports a police officer for violating use of force, they can't be disciplined. And then requiring the Law Enforcement Standards Board, or LESB, to develop a model use of force policy for law enforcement agencies. The next one would require each law enforcement officer to annually complete at least 8 hours of training on use of force options and de-escalation techniques. Number 3 would create a $1 million grant that would fund community organizations that are utilizing evidence-based outreach and violence interruption strategies. So things like the Blueprint for Peace would probably apply for that or qualify for that, and other organizations that do intervention. The next one, number 4, requires law enforcement agencies to develop policies prohibiting use of chokeholds. Number 5 would require law enforcement agencies to not only prepare a policy regarding the use of force by law enforcement officers, but to make it publicly available online. The next one would create a civil cause of action for unnecessarily summoning a law enforcement officer with intent to infringe upon the right of a person under Wisconsin Constitution. So if someone calls the cops on you unnecessarily when you're not breaking the law and you're lawfully there, you could have the right to sue them essentially for calling the cops on you for no reason. The next one would require that the Department of Justice publish an annual report on the use of force incidents. This same one would also require certain demographic information to be collected about each incident that is reported annually. and this would be on their website. The second to last one would prohibit no-knock search warrants. And then the last one, number 9, would make certain changes to the responsibilities of the Law Enforcement Standards Board, including requiring them to also regulate jail and juvenile detention officer training standards. It would also require each law enforcement agency to maintain an employment file for each employee. And finally, would require a potential candidate for a position in any agency, jail, or facility to authorize their previous employer to disclose his or her employment files. So having access to see what their disciplinary history is, have they used excessive force in the past, things like that. So again, this is just what's being presented. This needs to be, obviously, it has to pass through the legislature, and this likely won't happen until 2021 because Evers did not call for a special session to be held. As you remember, many of the special sessions that he tried to hold ended up being just gavelled out, so people would come in and then leave immediately, and he didn't want that to happen, according to what his statement said. So likely these won't be looked at for several months, but this is what's out there, and this is what we can hope to hear debated in the near future. So I hope that was helpful for people. Oh, I actually did want to show you one more thing. Let me get that back up there. So this is I just want to show you what happens when you click on, so this is the actual bill, right? You can click on that, and then it takes you to the actual bill itself. So you can read all of the jargon, all of the language that goes into making a bill or any kind of law. And then you can see that it goes line by line, because sometimes they reference it by line when they're talking about it at these different legislative meetings. So just wanted to give you that view as well of what that looks like. Oh, and then one more thing, because why not? If you're on this, it also says sign up here, right here. It says sign up here to get Governor Evers' e-newsletter. And if you click that, it will also ask you if you want to get his press releases emailed to you. So similar to e-notify here in Milwaukee, there is a state level opportunity to do that as well. But now I will stop talking about it, and I will leave you with a census video, as I normally do, that talks about a father and why he would want to fill out the census and why it's important to him as a father. So here you go. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you next week.
Meet Leo. Leo and his family have been living in the same community most of their lives, but lately he's noticed a change. Schools are getting a little more crowded, the drive a little longer, and there are fewer child care centers available. Not to mention, federal assistance programs have become more limited. Leo realized that the lack of a strong voice representing his community has resulted in many of these problems being overlooked, which is why he's decided to participate in the U.S. Census. Participating in the census will help ensure that his community receives its fair share of funding for public services and fair political representation. Like Leo, you too can make a change by getting counted. Stay informed about the upcoming 2020 census by contacting the Leo Educational Fund. Text census to 97779 or call 1-877-352-3676.
Thank you, Gabe. As I have said before, one of my dreams when I came to SOC in 2015 was to make sure that we had a robust, thorough civic engagement program in education, and it's happening. Makes me delighted to see. Hola, Charlie. Hola, Maria. Hola, Stefa. Happy Juneteenth Day to you. Marian, gracias for letting us know what's happening with our interpretation. Hola, Maricano. Hola, Maria Alicia, one of our new Gold Institute graduates. Great to see you all here today. Folks, speaking of COVID, Marlene's update on the deaths, what's obvious is those most at risk are our elderly, our seniors, our grandmothers and grandfathers. And so related to that, we did, as you're well aware, a promotion to have you all pledge to keep your grandpas and older folks safe by making sure you'll wear a mask, that you'll honor the distance required, the 6-foot distance between folks, and that you'll wash your hands. Those of you who took the pledge, we said, take the pledge and send us a picture of you with your grandpa or your grandpa, because we have to honor social distancing guidelines. And so you did. In just a second, we're going to show that. We're going to announce the winner of the Father's Day Keep Your Grandpa Safe promotion on Monday. So you want to come back and find out if you won your grandpa a gift card for $50 or for yourself to celebrate with your grandpa. So I'll ask our communications manager to share that right now. Happy Father's Day. How precious is that? Thank you for sharing your grandpas with us today. Thank you for pledging to keep them safe. So grateful for that, and so grateful for the staff team that put that together for you all. We'll be sharing that on our Facebook page. So when we do that, tag your family members so that they can see the grandpas who are being lifted up in our promotion. I want to remind you of what's coming up next week. You don't want to miss it. We've been listening to your survey responses. You say you love the special guests, love having access to them. And so we're trying to continue to make that happen. So here you go. Next Tuesday, Teresa Jemison from NAMI is going to be here and speaking about mental health and how you can handle that as a family member. Super important organization. On Wednesday, we have Marina Dmitrijevic, former county supervisor, now newly elected alderperson of the 14th district. On Thursday, we have the Deputy Commissioner of Environmental Health, Claire Evers, who's going to be giving us an update on an official update on COVID-19 status. So remember, we're in phase 3. If you want to find out if we're staying in phase 3, if we're going back to phase 2 restrictions, or if we're opening up to phase 4, you want to be with us on Thursday. And then we have a couple other bookings to happen. We'll be having Arnita Holloman with us from the Office of Violence Prevention, who continuing our mental health theme. And also Griselda Aldrete, the Executive Director of the Fire and Police Commission, has committed to coming on as soon as their investigation of the murder of Joel Acevedo by a local police officer is completed. And they'll be sharing those investigation results with us once they inform the family and all parties necessary about that. So you don't want to miss that. I want to thank you for being with us. I want to remind you to please fill out the survey. Can I have 3 of you commit to doing that as a Friday sort of celebratory thing? Of the 3 people who've been watching the program, will 3 of you give me a thumbs up or let me know here in the Facebook comments that you'll fill out the survey? It's only going to take less than 5 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. It's probably not even going to take half of that, but just to be on the safe side. Can I have 3 of you commit to filling out that survey before we close out the program? Should I do like teachers and call your names out? Let's see. Let me see if I can get refresh. Go back. Start. Donna, will you fill out the survey, please? Uriel, will you fill out the survey? Marianne, Charlie, Maria Gallegos, Stefa, Maricano, Maria Alicia, por favor. We would really appreciate if you would do that. All right, folks, we're going to leave you with our thank yous to funders. I thank you for being with us. And thank you, Marianne said she would. 2 more people. Come on, folks. Be safe, please. You've seen the numbers, especially on the near south side. They're astronomical in terms of positive cases of COVID. So please be safe. We thank you, and I'll leave you with this thank you. Maricano will also, how about one more so we can conclude our program with our 3rd commitment to the survey? Marianne has agreed. Maricano, I just need one more person. Yay, Maricano. I just need more of you to commit to filling out the survey. I'm going to refresh and hope that you make our Friday. Oops. I'm not the best at this, folks. I have other skills. Technology isn't the best one. I'm hoping to see one more after our thank you video to complete the 3 commitments for the survey. We'll leave you with the thank you video. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Be safe, and we appreciate you.
Hi, Community Forum. I'm Marisol Diaz, Communications Manager here at SOC, here with Apollo. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock with SOC live show and for completing our SOC survey. In addition to thanking our residents for tuning in and sharing our show, we would also like to thank the following sponsors: Wisconsin Voices, Community Development Block Grants, Neal Philanthropy State Infrastructure Fund, Movement Voter Project, Catholic Campaign for Human Development, Silver Foundation, City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, Tides Foundation, City of Milwaukee Promise Zones, and all of the faithful individuals who support SOC through their personal donations. Thank you.